Lindsay. This is Mimi with Divination by Mimi doing your reading. Just looking at the charts here. Just noticing a couple of things. You, Sun, Gemini, Ascendant, Cancer, Moon in Gemini. So mutable and cardinal. Your Venus is in Taurus, sensual, and your Mars is in Aquarius, which it's not that it tempers the sex drive, but it allows you to consider everyone. Kind of like if your Mars were in Libra, where you consider your partner, essentially. Partner here, Sun in Aries, Scorpio ascendant, so a very intense personality likely, although you probably don't see it that way with your ascendant being Cancer. But yeah, Aries cardinal, ascendant Scorpio, Moon in Sagittarius, mutable. So he's hitting all of the angles on the chart, on the natal chart. And that's Moon's in the second house, so that's really interesting about stuff and things. So it's really about how what he has in the way of his emotional perspective, and being in Sagittarius, that emotional perspective is very expansive. Your moon being in Gemini matches that. It's very interesting actually, because your moons are on the mutable axis between Sagittarius and Gemini, which I find that very, very interesting. And moons being emotion, so, you know, not just the romantic part of emotion of Venus or the sexual part of emotion in Mars, but the emotion in everything, from the deep-seated stuff to the way you react to things now, sometimes not as you expect. But it's very interesting. It's a perfect complement. It really is. Sun in, he's got fixed, mutable, and cardinal, so all angles. And then his moon being in Sag is the opposition of your moon in Gemini. So you complement each other in that way, meaning where you're lacking, he can help, or he can add to the emotional processing of things, your emotional processes. And where he's lacking, you can help. So it's, you know, the opposition signs, their opposite signs are very often the healing aspect, or even though very different, but it's the part that heals us in our path, in our soul's path. So it's really not surprising you mentioning feeling like you've known him a long time, like you felt like this is kind of like coming home. Other things I noticed, let's see, you've got Uranus in Libra, which is an interesting placement for, and you've got that in the 8th house. So I think in the past you might have been someone with Uranus and Libra in the 8th house to remember lack of freedom, remember repression, remember being held to something and restricted by relationships. So he has Uranus in Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. So you've got a cardinal and a fixed sign here, and his is also in the 8th house. So that's very, very interesting. Yeah. Do I have that right? Yeah. Your 8th house is Aquarius. So the deep stuff you can detach from on the surface. It always affects us, but you can detach on the surface. What else we got? You've got Pluto in Virgo, so dealing with some mother issues. His is in Libra, so dealing with past relationship issues. And then what I found really interesting was your ascendants. Not your ascendant rather, but your North Node being your life's purpose, your soul's purpose in this incarnation. Yours is in Aquarius, which is to move to expansive, progressive energy for yourself and the collective, how things benefit everyone. And then his is in Sagittarius, which is higher education, 9th house stuff, expansive, Jupiterian type of energy. So interesting. He has Lilith in Pisces, you have Lilith in Virgo. So I think that you have a desire to get out of sexual ruts. Your sexual expression is, what's the word I'm looking for? There's an order to it. So it's like, although you might give the impression that you're relinquishing control in a relationship sexually. And this is Black Moon Lilith we're talking about here. In Virgo, it gives you the front that you are orderly, hygienic. So even in your carefree attitude about sensuality and about relationships, that Virgo energy keeps everything as it should be. It may seem wild, but it's actually quite under control. His in Pisces, on the other hand, is going to be very overflowing with emotions. So if Aries is, let's see, if the Aries sun and the ascendant Scorpio, if the fixed Scorpio doesn't keep him from, if it keeps him from expressing emotions, at least sensually, Black Moon Lilith Pisces with your Black Moon Lilith Virgo, which interesting is the other mutable axis, Virgo, complete opposite to Pisces. So Black Moon Lilith again is sexual repression. You have the healing medicine, both of you have the healing medicine for the other opposite sign. He's got his Lilith in Pisces, you've got your Lilith in Virgo. So he's got what you need and you got what he needs for healing. What else have we got here? He has Mars in Aquarius, you have Mars, oh wow, that's right. You have Mars in Aquarius and he has Mars in Aquarius. You have Venus in Taurus, so sensual, slow, loving. He has Venus in Taurus and they're conjunct. He's got it in Taurus and I can't see what house it's in. Yours is at 8 degrees. His is at 15 degrees. That's less than 10 degrees. That's nearly conjunct. Venus in Taurus, Mars in Aquarius, he's at 22 degrees. Your Mars in Aquarius is at 10, so that's a little more than conjunct, but still, same placements, really interesting. If you don't have, it's really quite interesting having the same placements for things, such as Venus in Taurus, and his has Venus in Taurus, and then Mars, again, this is your love and your sensuality. You're very beautifully matched, not only matched in the obvious way sexually, but in the deeper stuff, if you don't have the exact placements like you do, for example, you have Venus in Taurus, he has Venus in Taurus, he has Mars in Aquarius, you have Mars in Aquarius, you know, both have to do with love, romance, and sexuality, the sex drive. Getting down to the deeper stuff like Black Moon Lilith, yours is in Virgo, his is in Pisces. So even even in the signs that don't match up absolutely, you know, with the exact same sign, like some of them do, that your surface aspects, the Black Moon Lilith placement's a really good example of the opposite medicine, the healing aspect of, which is perfect for what Black Moon Lilith represents. There's a healing aspect between both of you. Yeah, you've got what he needs and he's got what you need. What else? I mentioned you've got the mother issue. He's got Pluto in Libra, so his healing and transforming himself through pain in the past. And Pluto, yours is more familial, you know, your family, your upbringing, possibly a mother figure. His tends to be more about past relationships. And I can't see the whole natal wheel, so I'm not sure in what house, you know, your Libra is, or your Sag is, or your Virgo is. But that'd be interesting as well if it's around the 4th and his is in the 4th. But really interesting how beautifully connected you are. And if you're not spot on, like your Venus is in your Mars, you're the medicine, the opposite sign, meaning you're the medicine on the other half. And again, the North Node, your North nodes complement each other. So your soul's goal in Aquarius is complemented by his North Node in Sagittarius. They do everything to help the other out. He helps you out where you need to expand and to show some positivity with that Jupiterian energy in Sag. And then you have the expressive, progressive, thinking outside of the box of Uranus, and of course the collective mentality, whether that manifests itself in families or what have you. So let's get into the tarot now. I'm doing a spread here. Hold on a second. Yeah, this is the true love spread. So first card is you and your feelings and expectations and so forth. Second card is him, his feelings and expectations. Third card is the connection that you have, things that bring you together. Okay. Fourth card are the strengths that you have in the relationships, those things that are going to come very easily to you. Fifth card are the weaknesses or the areas of opportunity where you both can look and see where there's potential for growth, where there's potential for what opportunities are there, what things, you know, might cause ripples in the relationship. And then the final card is the true love card, or the ultimate result. And of course, it gives you any insight into things you need to address, particularly as it relates to those areas of opportunity in the fifth card. All right. So again, let me pull this up so I can keep it handy. I'm going to be using just the a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck rather than Thoth, and it's the Morgan Greer. And this is for T. Thank you for letting me help you. And M. See what kind of energy is around the relationship for T and M. How do you feel? How does he feel? What are the strengths? What are the areas of opportunity? What are the energies that are bringing you together? The easy stuff, the trying stuff, the spiritual reasons you're together, and then areas, opportunities to look at, and what the true love message is. But even looking at your chart before starting, you know, with the cards here, it's amazing how well suited you are for each other. Just amazing. Let's do one more here. Okay. Whoops. Holy Hecate. What kind of energy is around the relationship between T and M? T being Sun Gemini, Cancer Ascendant, Moon Gemini, and M being Sun Aries, Scorpio Ascendant, and Moon Sagittarius. Did I get that right? Hold on. Did I say that right? Yes, Moon Sagittarius. Sorry, I'm having to get used to this. Hecate, guides, universe, collective. Thank you. So this is you moving out of a resting period. This is your energy. This is the Four of Swords in reverse. You're ready to move on. Your feeling about the relationship is it feels right. I've been sitting on my, not on my laurels, I've been resting. I've been recovering, licking my wounds from previous pains, previous relationships that perhaps closed me in a way I wasn't ready to be closed in on. His energy, King of Cups, that's that Scorpio. This is the Scorpio card. This is the Ascendant. It's his Ascendant. This is him. I mean, he's the king of emotion, which, you know, with the Piscean aspects, the mutable activity, again, he's got all the angles covered, all the natal angles covered. He's got cardinal, he's got mutable, and he's got fixed. It's really cool. With that Scorpio Ascendant, him putting out there, he's got the love. It's an intense and passionate love. This is him. This is you. You're ready. I'm picking up on your energy more obviously because I know you. But you've been kind of holding back recently. And this guy's actually got you ready to go again. This guy's got you feeling energetic, feeling connected. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So those are the first two cards, you and he. Third card, this is the connection between, that represents the characteristics that you bring this together. So this is the Seven of Pentacles, which is very good. It's patience. Okay, and it's in fact in the Thoth deck it is patience, and I tend to, not everybody vibes with the Thoth deck, but I really do. I pull from that thinking a lot. And patience is important. You have patience with other parties, and he has that patience as well. And I get a feeling that in the past for both of you, that level of patience with the relationship, with the other party in the relationship has been missing. In other words, you've had it, you've provided it for others, but others did not return you that favor. And that's both for you and for him. Okay? Hold on. Okay, so that's the energy around it. The strengths of the relationship. Queen of Cups, the Cancer card. There's your ascendant. So you're definitely a strong part. He's here and he's ready to. And again, I'm probably picking up more on your energy as well because I know you. However, that this is your ascendant. The strength of it is that you both are coming. You notice if we put these side by side, King of Cups, Queen of Cups, they're facing each other. They're each offering and partaking of this cup of love, this cup of emotions and relationships. So it's really very beautiful. Okay, so the strength is for both of you, and again, I'm picking up on you, I think, quite a bit, is the Cancer card, Cardinal. Queens are Cardinal, and water is Cancer. I'm picking up that vibe that you are... you're giving, you're ready, you've left this period of rest, this period of let's wait and see, I'm not quite ready to jump in the game again. Let's see. He is ready to give of himself, and it looks like that's his nature. For him to get his ascendant, what he's giving, how he sees the world as the Scorpio that he is, the ascendant. For him to get his own card's really quite a connection, because again, I'm probably connecting more with you because I know you, but the fact that he's coming in so clearly shows how connected he is with you, if that makes sense. Now, these are areas of opportunity. Yeah, you're both moving on. So you got the Defeat card. This is the 5 of Swords in reverse. You're both moving on from the mental energy that you've used to imprison yourself based upon the hurts of the past. So when you are moving on from a pain like this, when you're moving on from relationships that didn't work, insecurities about yourself in those relationships, or him for that matter, or your partner in this reading, when you're moving on from that, the good news is you're being asked to, because this is the area of opportunity, is to make sure that you know your boundaries, because with every relationship that we go through, it's a lesson. We learn something in that relationship, right? And we carry that lesson and our new self as a result of that lesson to the next relationship. That said, if you guys have not already started to release those feelings, the suggestion is that you do that. Now, again, remember to hold on to a healthy memory or a healthy acknowledgement for boundaries, for red flags. In other words, don't ignore something you know that's been something you've learned from in the past. If something pops up again, don't ignore it. For him, if you do something that causes him hurt that he's been able to recover, he can't ignore it either. So I think one of the biggest things, because this is very promising, you both are ready. You both are deeply connected. I'm getting his vibe through you. It's amazing. And you both have the patience, the calm, the care, the compassion with not only the relationship, with not only with yourself, but with the other party to help the relationship grow. So those are very positive things. The important thing here is that you keep communication open. Okay, and I mean it even in the sappy way that's going to make him go, ew, do we really have to talk about our feelings that much? Or maybe it makes you do that. But yeah, it is important that you do that because you're both coming from a lot of pain. You're like literally recently leaving some kind of painful situation. That's your card. That's your energy right now. As you're entering into this and as you're tiptoeing despite the passion that's obviously there, it's not only the hot passion that is there through, you can see through your zodiac sign, through your placements, your aspects, but there is also the compassion and love. It's like an agape love as well, which is really beautiful. It's so rare to find that. You get the hot sex and you get, this true understanding, this true connection. So again, with this being the area of opportunity, make sure that you are healthfully, reasonably letting go of old injuries, because they're not, the new person that you're with is not the person that you used to be with, right? And I think you're patient and you're both patient and compassionate enough to know that that's the case. But it's very easy to fall back into patterns if, he said that thing my ex used to say, he must be like my ex. Let me throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's the big thing here is, number one, you acknowledge, you let go of things that could restrict the relationship from flourishing and growing. See, he's hoed. He's planted, he's tended the pentacles, they're growing, and he's having patience to watch them. And you both have that element here. And you both have this loving, giving, compassionate energy where you're not afraid to share. Okay, so when these red flags pop up, when he does say that thing that your ex used to say, remember, firstly, it doesn't make him your ex, number one, and you're smart enough to know that, and he's smart enough to know that for you as well. But remember as well that it is key, especially when you have such a tight bond like this, it is key that you keep lines of communication open, even if it gets to the point of being sappy, even if it gets to the point where you're like, do you remember last week when you were shaving in the bathroom? I know it was last week, but you said something that really, really hurt me. Can we talk about that later tonight? I don't want to stop you in the middle of whatever it is you're doing now. And same for him. When you didn't want to do this, or when you laughed at me about that, it really, really hurt my feelings. My ex used to do that, or my mom used to do that, things like that. Remember, we're not only looking at things that trigger us from past relationships, but particularly you might be looking for things that trigger you about your past with your family, your mother, or the mother figure in your family. So if you didn't have a traditional family upbringing, a maternal figure of some kind, good or bad, you're dealing with issues with your Pluto and Virgo. Okay. All right. And final outcome. Yeah, communication. Page of Swords. So this is, again, the area of, this is the true love's connection here. The urges, the passion, the instincts match for both of you completely. And strangely enough for you, with all the Gemini that you have, and maybe it's his, maybe this is his, because again, Gemini likes communication. You like to speak about things. You like to get things out in the open, okay? This, because there are 1, 2, 3 sword cards here, 2 cups. So predominantly we're talking about emotions and communicating about emotions here, right? For both of the areas of challenge, we got both cards in reverse. They're both swords. The page being the messenger, and this being old memories about pain and hurt from your past. Okay, so I think the and I can get some clarification on this as well, but I think the opportunity right here for the true love connection is going to be messages. If he is more likely to express himself in feelings, both physical and passionate, whether it's an argument, you might find that you have your work cut out for you, because I think you are a communicator. Again, Gemini ruled by Mercury, you have to be. It's part of you. I think your struggle with him, with dealing with this relationship, is keeping him talking, keeping him expressing how he feels, and making sure that he makes room for you to express how you feel. Intuitively, that just came. Meaning, if his first instinct is to act and to express, but not to clearly communicate the way Gemini likes it, thinking and communicating, right? Mercury, thinking and communicating. You've got that down pat, and all of our swords here are in reverse. Now, your card is the Four of Swords in reverse, but that's good. That means that you're done with waiting, you're done with licking your wounds, you're done with you're coming out of love retirement, which is great. But the other two are areas to look at. One is the barbs of pain from the past, okay? And the other is communication. Okay, so these are going to be your challenges. These are going to be things that I think might come easily to you and may not come easily to him. See, I don't have his third aspect, his third house aspects, or his seventh. Oh wait, he does. He has Libra in the seventh house. Yeah, he's definitely going to be dealing. Wait a minute. Yeah, I can't really tell with this chart. I'm not familiar with this chart. Ascendant, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Oh, so Libra is both in. Oh, sorry, Libra is his 12th house, which is also lunar activity, and then his moon was in Sag. Interesting. What's his 4th house? Pisces. Yeah, so with Scorpio ascendant, 4th house Pisces, and 7th house Taurus. This is for him? Yeah, this is for him. He's going to be full of emotions, right? And that's Scorpio ascendant as well. Full of passion and emotions. And that Taurus is going to make it difficult for him to express it. It's going to bottle up. And then it will express itself explosively. So your challenge here is definitely going to be getting him to, kind of like the tea kettle, make sure that there's a steam release, that he is releasing his steam by communicating. That's going to be your biggest challenge with this relationship, is communication, because the love is there, the passion is there, but those little things, those little triggers that we have from our own past, our own experiences in the past, that cause us to just go off, for any apparent reason. He doesn't have quite, you got, again, Gemini in 2 places, and your Mercury, where was your Mercury? TT, where's your Mercury? Oh, Mercury in Taurus, okay. And that is your 9th house. So, there may be, communication is going to be key here. Sword, 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 right? His Mercury is in Pisces. Okay, so your Mercury, your communication might be coming from, and your thinking might be coming from, kind of, there's nothing wrong with romance, but kind of with fairy tale romance, kind of the stuff we as little girls were brought up to hold on to as the ideal of love. With your moon in Gemini and your Mercury in Taurus and your 7th house in Capricorn, I think that there's a part of you that you might communicate, perceive, and express romance from a youthful perspective, and the old ideals of what we were brought up with in the fairy tales that we had and the love stories we were taught, those ideals may not be reasonable for true happiness. So make sure when you are looking at the relationship that you're looking at it through the eyes of a grown, mature woman, because I know that my placements for Mercury, my 7th house, they make me very idealistic about romance, very fairy tale-ish about romance. And that happens sometimes, and it coincides with a mature agape love. But I think you're dealing with here, in this relationship, there are so many things that tie into each other that it seems like we talked a little bit about the twin flame thing. You guys were meant to meet up because there are too many complementary aspects here. They're either exact and similar, like your Mars and your Venus. So like the sex and the romance isn't a problem on the surface, right? But the other things that are complementary, or supportive of the other, It may come across as triggers to someone because it's the opposite sign, and the reaction is opposite of what you would do, and vice versa for him. That's why it's important that we look at this maturely. And if it's not his instinct, and this is why I'm bringing up communication so much, your instinct is to communicate. And I'm driving this home like a dead horse, beating a dead horse, I know, but literally that is the main thing here. It's true communication, because his instinct is not going to be to communicate in that way. His instinct to communication will be emotional, passionate, reactive. Yours is active by nature. Yours is active, just your sun sign and your moon sign, especially with your moon sign being, in squarely in Gemini. It's a very pragmatic in a way. It's fun. Emotions are fun, but his are going to be a little bit more serious. Yeah, that's another where you have the opposite mutable axis. Yours Gemini, his moon's in Sag. But again, it's opposite. It's not the same thing. So the sex and the love, not a problem. The romance and the sex, not a problem. Not a problem at all. You match up perfectly. Okay? When you said it felt like going home, I can see why. But with these communication cards coming up, I think this thing of communication and expression of feelings from a cool, calm, logical perspective is your strength, and perhaps an area of opportunity for him. Okay? So he needs to employ this patience with you and himself as he possibly is learning to communicate and rationally express his feelings, and let off steam a bit at a time rather than letting it bottle up and releasing it in a big passionate torrent, right? And then your challenge, from what I can see here and what the reading is saying, with your partner will be to remind him it's not going to be his nature to do that. His nature is reactive. It's passionate. It's emotion. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. A lot of Pisces. In the way he talks and the way he communicates. Mercury in Pisces. Black Moon Lilith in Pisces. Moon in Sag. Mutable again. Expansive. Yours being in Gemini. It's going to be your job to hold his hand through the process of expressing his emotions with words logically rather than a passionate rush. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's the message I'm getting over and over again. And with these sword cards, particularly as you guys are getting over, excuse me a second. Oops. Yeah. As you're getting over past feelings and the mental processes of those past feelings, of those past relationships that hurt you, particularly him, his is 7th house stuff. That's where his Pluto is. So the old deep stuff has to do with relationships he's formed for the most part outside of the familial home, ex-girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. For you, your job is going, and this is your past too. This is you dealing with people trying to be, restrictive. Pin you in, hold you back, imprison you in a sense, and that's a horrible thing with all your Gemini energy. So your biggest challenge really will be this communication thing. It needs to be a constant in your mind. It needs to be a constant when you're outside of the bedroom where things are going to be beautiful and fairy tale like. The communication is key because it's not his first instinct, it is yours. But when you look at the relationship, make sure you do it from the eyes and the ears and the heart and the thoughts of a mature woman. And remember the patience needed here. The first instinct may not be to express it logically. And it may be bottled up and come out passionately for him. So you'll need to hold his hand and guide him in that. It won't be natural for him. That I can see here. All right, so that's all I've got for the relationship for this reading. This is sort of like an overall the energy around a relationship. You're both coming to the table ready. I mean, I think it's really beautiful. He's coming through, so I don't know him, and he's new to you. And I mean, I know you. We're not besties, but I know you. We work together. he's coming through very strongly. Like, for his card to be his Scorpio persona, that's pretty crazy. And you're both offering love. So the love's there, the passion's there, your aspects are perfectly matched. The opposition aspects that could, on the surface, cause agitation or irritation are actually healing. So both of you, along with the communication, the important thing is to keep an open mind when dealing with those things that irk you about the other person. In other words, your need to logically express yourself might irk him, but he needs that desperately. And on the other side, his natural tendency to express passionately may be something you're lacking, right? So, especially because I think was your Mercury in Taurus? Oh, shoot. I'm not going to keep referring back to it. Sorry. It's already gone over. But I hope that helps. If you have questions, please email me the questions. I'll respond and I'll try to clarify as best I can. I'll take a picture of the spread and I'll email it to you, and then I'll upload this to unlisted, okay? And then if you're comfortable with the contents, then I'll change it to listed. All right. Okay, T. Hope this helped. I will talk to you soon. Again, please email me if you have questions. Much love. Take care.